Welcome back, folks. 15 after the hour. Time for us to go behind the headlines. And I caught this headline off the National Journal, and it caught me right away. It says, alcohol is really pissed off at marijuana right now. That's got an interesting title. But the lead paragraph in this says, marijuana has been giving alcohol a bad name. So contend booze lobbyists who are getting sick of an ad campaign that makes the claim that pot is safer than their beloved beverages. One alcohol industry insider representative said, quote, "We're not against legalization of marijuana. We just don't want to be vilified in the process. We don't want alcohol to be thrown under the bus, and we're going to fight to defend our industry when we're demonized." End quote. This is something I've been bringing up for a long time now, and it's a fine line we have to walk when it comes to this marijuana is safer campaign. Let me give you the two sides of this, and then I'll give you my point. The alcohol lobbyists say that it's a red herring to compare the two. Quote, "We believe it's misleading to compare marijuana to beer. Beer is distinctly different both as a product and an industry." Yeah, whatever. I don't give that much credence. In fact, Mason Tvert in the story makes a good point about it. He goes, that's like saying we can't compare the relative safety or nutrition between sushi and fried chicken, right? Just because they're different doesn't mean you can't compare them. They're both used for similar purposes. So it is a valid comparison to say that marijuana is safer than alcohol. Now, for the other side, Marijuana Policy Project takes issue with the idea that they're painting a false picture. In a recent op-ed for CNN, Dan Riffle, the director of federal policies, notes that according to the CDC, excessive alcohol use is the third leading lifestyle-related cause of death. Booze also plays a role in a third of all emergency room visits. So here's where we're going to have to get some nuance, folks. This is where we're going to have to really play this closely. Because to this point, the alcohol industry, by and large, hasn't been directly opposing any of our marijuana legalization initiatives or decrims or medical marijuana or anything like that. They pretty much stayed on the sidelines. Now, that's not to say that the alcohol industry in the past hasn't been a part of the Partnership for Drug-Free America or anti-drug ads or any of that stuff. There's plenty of evidence for that, but that's in a more general sense, right? They haven't gone directly after our legalization initiatives. And I fear that if we continue to demonize alcohol, they might start to see it as a threat and maybe start fighting against these marijuana initiatives, maybe forming anti-drug groups and, giving money to the sheriff's associations and all of that kind of stuff. So it is absolutely true that marijuana is safer than alcohol. We cannot deny that. Here's where I think the nuance needs to be. It's okay to say marijuana is safer than alcohol. It's not okay to say drinkers are bad. Now, here's the example that we can give you that's a pretty good test of this. In the billboards that have gone up, they had one in Oregon that MPP did. I think they did one in Denver and so on. They say marijuana is safer than alcohol. They had the ads, it doesn't give me hangovers and so on. Those are good to a point. But there was that one video ad, and we show it here on the network from time to time, where they do the compare and contrast between the smokers, the pot smokers and the drinkers. And they show the drinker as this big beer-bellied shirtless guy. And the next shot shows the drinker as an angry man it's implied that he's going to beat his wife. And then the third shot shows the woman with all the empty glasses around her, showing what a down and out drunk she is. Those are the ones that cross the line. We need beer drinkers, we need alcohol drinkers as our allies, not our enemies. We need to show that there's plenty good about marijuana that we can say without having to demonize the people who drink alcohol. Now, it's true. It's absolutely true. And you look at these stats as far as emergency room and violence and spousal abuse and all that kind of stuff, drunk driving. Yes, those things are true in the aggregate as a big picture. But if you point to an individual drinker, someone who has never smoked pot, and we're asking him to support our measure, it does us no favors to say, well, you're a beer drinker. You're one of those beer-bellied, wife-beating drunks, aren't you? And that's what I'm afraid some of these ad campaigns are going to start to do. They're going to start to turn people off into thinking that we're anti-alcohol. So it's something we need to be really careful about. Marijuana is safer than alcohol, but we don't need to go saying how dangerous alcohol is. Anyway, we'll talk about that on Facebook if you want to chat me up. Meantime, we got to take a break.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer Have you ever met that funny reefer man? Reefer man. If he said he swam to